Hi, welcome back to Maddie on My Mind. Today I have a guest, Miss Maeve Traeger Tarrant. Can I say your full name?
Hey, go for it, woman.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Maeve. I'm Maddie's best friend.
No, you're not.
What else?
Stop lying.
I'm her wife. I'm her girlfriend.
We're drinking soda. We got at a gas station.
Anti-health.
My tummy hurt. Thank you. So today we're gonna do some ASMR. No, we're not. I'm sorry. We're gonna drink soda and we're gonna talk about our favorite movies because Maeve and I we like some films. Okay. That was supposed to be cringy. It was purposeful.
Okay, good. Actually, I've actually never been on live television before.
I think that is not quite right. That wasn't very nice. Hey, there's gonna be spoiler alerts all over this video, so if you haven't seen Life Itself, La La Land, or Little Women, don't watch it.
Or do if you don't care about spoilers.
If you don't care. Okay. So, first things first on the agenda. We have Little Women. Originally written by Louisa May Alcott, then directed by Greta Gerwig, starring Saoirse Ronan, Florence Pugh,
Timothy Chalamet, my husband.
Emma Watson. I don't know the actor of Beth's name.
Sorry, Beth.
Thoughts on Little Women? This is Maeve's favorite movie of all time.
Such a fan. So good.
So
relatable. I feel like in so many ways. The sisters are also different, and I feel like you can there's a person for everyone to understand and connect with, I think.
I think there's also bits of yourself in every sister.
Mm-hmm.
You can always find a little piece. I feel like we've talked about this before, how we think you're more Joe coded, but the thing is you have a little bit of Amy,
and you're more Amy,
and I'm more Amy, but I have a little bit of Joe.
That's why we're a perfect match.
That's really perfect for each other. Greta Gerwig, in her directing style, she wanted the sisters to all be talking over each other. She didn't want a set script. They weren't supposed to be reciting lines. I talk, you talk. Yeah. It was supposed to be overlaid, a real conversation sisters would have. They're not robotic, hey, you want to go to the store?
You want to go ice skating? No, I'm going to go drown in the lake instead.
That was a part that made it stand out a lot, is it feels so much more real, I think, without it being so scripted. We love the "It's no use, Joe. We gotta have it out. I've loved you ever since I've known you, Joe. I couldn't help it.
And I tried.
I gave up everything you didn't like. I gave up billiards, and I'm happy I did, because I figured you love me, Joe."
Also, I saw a TikTok about this the other day, that it was the different, everyone thinks the line is, "I figured you loved me, Joe." But it's "I figured you'd love me, Joe." Which is,
he was waiting for her to figure,
to
love him. He was I figured after I gave up all these things, I figured that you would finally love me.
Also, Amy and Laurie were destined for each other.
Perfect for each other.
And I feel Joe and Laurie, there's something there, but I genuinely don't think they would have.
Honestly, I don't think Joe and Laurie really had anything.
I think they just wanted to be in each other's lives. I don't mean romantically.
No, not romantically. I think they were very chemistry wise,
perfect,
had a big connection.
Friends,
Joe and I think Laurie honestly was looking for someone and found Joe to fit that image. And before he could figure out what he actually wanted, and I think that he and Joe are perfect to be best friends.
They're platonic soulmates.
I think so too.
Even him and Laurie are perfect for a relationship with each other.
Him and Laurie?
Him and Amy. Can you put this over there?
Yeah. What makes them good for each other is they're both very childlike spirits. Do you know what I'm saying? honestly, Amy like has always been very like relatable to me because she's so like openly feeling about things and like over dramatic, and I love that. Like
that's so you.
It's so me. Like I want to like, why can't we be over dramatic? It's like what you're feeling, right? And like Jo is not so much that way. She's much more mature and like elevated and sophisticated. And I think that's good, but I think that Lori is like a fun-loving, like wants to like experience this like beautiful like way of living that Amy also wants.
Yeah, and like just happiness.
Yeah.
And like joy, and like Jo wants to make something of
Jo
herself.
wants like pursuit. There's a lot to unpack.
The last scene. Well, like it's not the last scene.
Because the rain one?
No, not even the rain one.
It's the book one?
Okay, shut the fuck up, Maddie. Let me say what I have to say. The scene where Jo is going to chase Friedrich or whatever his name is.
Friedrich.
Wait, is that his name?
I think so.
Or is it like
No, it is Friedrich.
Okay, when she's going to chase Friedrich and they're like getting ready, there's like this. Like, there's a part of the scene where Lori, like, he looks at Jo and he's like, you can tell he's like, what? Wait, how do I feel?
Like
and then he's like, longing. Wow, like he's longing, but he's like, ultimately, like, I'm happy I'm doing it. Like, I never thought I would do this, and I'm happy I am. And I think that's like what like summarizes the relationship perfect.
Only know you love her when you let her go vibe.
But it's not even that. No, he knew he loved her before. But I think Lori was I think Lori was so young and he couldn't differentiate the different, like he couldn't differentiate like platonic love and like romantic love.
Yeah, I think this
and
is
he
true.
Thought like because he loved Jo so much that like it must be romantic.
Yeah.
But it was actually just platonic. And like
I love like the pure like celebrated femininity in Little Women. Like their dad isn't home. The only men that they like hang out with is Lori and his grandpa.
And Lori is so girly.
And Lori's a girly pop. And his grandpa is too. He just doesn't want to admit it. And like I feel like since they're so freely able to like live without those outside burdens, they like really like enable their inner femininity. And that's I think what makes it very nostalgic and like heartfelt for a lot of people. It's similar to Barbie where you're like healing your inner child that wasn't able to be fully feminine.
I also like that like all the sisters have different like cares for things and different like things that they want, but they all like
just because my passions are different from
yours, just because my dreams are different than yours doesn't mean they're unimportant. Which I genuinely think that quote is like so real. Like, I think that's like so like relatable because as a dancer I have to tie everything in my life back to dance because I'm just a freak like that. Like I've been fortunate enough to be surrounded by people who like my parents are like willing to like help me pursue this, and like they're not like you need to become a doctor, you know?
Yeah.
Like the truth is like some people are held back by the people around them who are like
very much so.
Your dreams aren't obtainable. Like they're not gonna.
Have you seen that quote? Oh, it's heartbreaking. It was like how many Picasso sat behind a dishwasher, like how many Da Vinci's like sat like doing laundry when like just because they were cursed to be a woman, which isn't quite what we're talking about, but it is like how many people were like gonna be the most talented, famous, amazing artists of all time and weren't able to because of the outside restrictions forced on them. Why are you running?
Why resist when you can resist?
I've been rizzing since 1982. We've been playing Roblox Riz. Roblox the Rizzler horror game.
I feel like your last podcast episode was very like tame and chill, and your viewers are really seeing a whole new side of you.
Yeah, all my viewers, my hundreds of thousands of viewers. Let's move on. Okay, next, should we talk about La La Land? It's one of the few musicals I can tolerate more than like 10 times. Which actually like isn't saying. Basically, this is my perspective on La La Land. You guys ready for this?
Basically, what is this?
Okay, I don't know if y'all have heard of the burnt toast theory. Have you heard of the burnt toast theory?
No, what the fuck?
Let's get into it. So basically, the theory is you're getting ready to like go to work or school, right? And yep,
yeah,
you burn your toast. The question is, do I remake the toast so I get like a breakfast, or do I leave and be on time? Can't decide. Okay, say you remake the toast because you're like, I really want breakfast. Remake the toast. And then 2 minutes before you pass through an intersection, there was a horrific car accident. 4 people died.
That literally happened to me. Like, my mom parked me in when I was supposed to leave for work over the summer, and I was waiting for her, and I literally, like, pulled up past this intersection, and, like, an accident just happened. And I was like, that would have been me.
No, exactly. And that's the thing. And so then you're thinking each and every decision you make changes the course of your life. And I know that's stressful, and it stresses me out every day of my fucking life. But it's true, because think literally how many near accidents you've avoided by, like, something as mundane as remaking toast. So in La La Land, there's all these, like, thoughts of parallel universes and, like, the way that, like, what would have happened, you know? So what would have happened if all these minor decisions weren't or were made? And that's what the final 12 minutes of La La Land are about, of when, like, she goes through what would have happened if he said no to John Legend. I don't know what his name is in the movie. At the bar, he was like, no. And then, like, well, the thing is, it's all these decisions that, like, would have been different. However, it's all in her mind, right? It's all her perspective of how things would have gone well. And she is being, basically, in that vision that she has, she's like, he comes with her to France and she gets her acting career started and, like, whatever. But that is all completely from her perspective. You know what I'm saying? From his perspective, like, giving up his dream, basically, from his perspective, like, giving up his dream for her would not have been the ideal situation, and he wasn't willing to do that, and that's why it didn't work. But in her, like, dream world, he did give it up, which I think is why it never would have worked. But think from his perspective, maybe it's the same thing. Maybe she's like, just decides to go all in on being a trad wife and not do acting.
That's so Nara Smith of her.
That's so Nara Smith core. Although these parallel, like, universes might exist of, like, slightly different decisions that could have changed the course of action, are they really what would have happened? Would anyone have followed that path?
I think about that whole concept a lot.
Me too.
Like, also, like, how, like, decisions or, like, everything happens for
a reason.
I could go on a whole rant about that. I don't believe that everything happens for a reason, but I do think that you learn from every experience that you have. And, like, same thing in La La Land. Like, they didn't end up together because she meant to pursue her acting career and he was supposed to, like, pursue music and, like, follow his dreams, and, like, things, like, play out how they're supposed to. I mean, like, I think that's a whole, like, and, like, higher power, whatever. I don't, like, have any necessary beliefs in that stuff, but, like, even, like, whatever traumatic things that have happened in my life have, like, impacted me the most of who I am, and, like, my perspective on things is, like, so much different than I think it would have been if, like, that stuff hadn't happened.
Absolutely.
Or, like, freshman year, if I hadn't had such a terrible friend, I wouldn't be sitting in your bed right now making this
literally
podcast.
There's so many small things, as in, like, getting into the school that we go to, which is an arts school, of, like, what if that day that you auditioned, like, someone just had, like, a shitty day and they're like, fuck you, like, I don't like you, like,
yeah,
and then, like, they just decide not to let you in, and then you go down another path, and we wouldn't be going to college for dance.
I don't know if I would still be dancing if I didn't come to this school.
I don't think I would.
I also, like, the best friends I've ever had in my life. I would have never met you guys if, like,
Yeah.
I never came here, which is crazy.
So think if you didn't get into the school because someone had a bad day, you wouldn't be dancing anymore. You wouldn't have the same friends you have.
I don't know what
would you be doing with your life?
Probably nothing.
Exactly. So it's like just like this whole question that comes to mind when you literally just watch La La Land, which surface level to haters and fake fans say that it's like, oh, it's a musical and it's a rom-com. No, it's not.
I mean, look at this.
But no, it's not. It's so much more than that. Also, can we talk about the use of color and lighting?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
So good.
My tummy.
If you haven't learned anything about me and Maddie in the last however long you've been watching this, it's the exact same person.
Okay. Should we talk about Black Swan? Or should we talk about life itself?
I feel like we should talk about life itself. The generational family curse is real.
A lot to unpack with life itself.
If you guys haven't watched it, it's like not a super common movie. If you haven't watched it, you should. It's very good.
So good.
I teared up, and I don't like cry, or like movies don't make me feel. Like they don't. I think I just have like a high standard for myself about what I cry about, and I like teared up at that movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's get into life itself.
Crazy movie.
Crazy movie. It's literally the same theme.
I know. It's same thing with Little Women too.
Yeah, literally because of Joe. Okay.
This is crazy. The moral of this episode is things happen how they're supposed to, and like, wow.
It's just insane because how did that family so perfectly work out? Like, how is that daughter alive from this random boy in fucking, where were they? Spain?
Mexico, Argentina.
I think it was Spain.
Okay, well.
And then this family in New York, how are they somehow connected? Like, it just, like, it doesn't, it's like the invisible string. Isn't it just
I'm not a huge Swiftie, but the invisible string theory is real.
Even I have friendship bracelets, and hers says "meet you," and it has a gold, and mine says that too. But I don't have it on because I'm a fake friend. Invisible string theory is crazy. Like, okay, I actually was thinking about this morning. "Bad Was the Blood" of the song in the cab on your first trip to LA. You ate at my favorite spot for dinner. He went to LA.
Bad Blood was the first.
Bad Blood, which is her song. Like, her song played, and you don't know how many of those like small things could be happening around us that we have no idea are like invisible string until it comes to play.
Like the people who will be so important in our lives, like in a year from now,
are gonna be like, oh, like I went to the same like summer camp as you.
I went to the same Noah concert as you. Noah concert. That's good.
That's so good. Literally, I'm gonna find the love of my life, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, I went to Glendale night 2 of the Eras tour," and I'm gonna be like, "Me too. You're the love of my life." No, like my ex-boyfriend danced at the same dance studio as I did for like a year. Per type shit. Type shit is just the man's version of period.
Yeah,
they're like type shit. Period. Boo. Thanks, woman.
I love saying woman.
I actually got into a discussion with my brother and his girlfriend about this. You know the scene that's very alarming. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about death being portrayed on the screen and in media?
What do you mean?
Because my brother's girlfriend's argument was that no one has ever experienced it and it's inappropriate to try to recreate it. And you can give the context for death and hear a gunshot or something, but you should not be showing on-screen death. And I understood a little bit until I watched life itself.
See, my whole thing with on-screen death is like, you've never died, but people have watched people die in front of them. And I think, honestly, portraying it is honestly like a very powerful thing. It's like, hey, this is real. Like, open up your fucking eyes. This could happen to you. Anytime, anywhere.
I think that a big part of it, though, is like the maybe shock factor of it that like I don't agree with. Like using it in a movie for that reason, which I don't think that's how it was done in life itself, but that was a very, very shocking scene that I think was like the main reason a lot of people are like, and so like I just have been thinking about that, and I'm like, I don't know, because like it does feel like to that in that moment, it felt very like there's already the unreliable narrator introduced, and so you're not sure if it actually happened, and then if it didn't happen, then it feels like it was just used to like, whoa, like death, that's crazy, and it's like shocking. But I think since it's real, it has more punch. But I don't know if we needed to watch it, and if we need to watch the therapist be like, oh.
I think we just like a gunshot would have been fine. I don't think we need to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to watch him like fall to the floor.
Yeah, that was kind of a lot.
So that's like kind of like, and it's been a big question. Like, is that like okay to be shown on TV? Like, how can we be portraying that if we haven't experienced it? It's like it is a real situation that happens all the time, but do we need to have it in the media?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're like all desensitized to it now, just because like we've seen it, which is also like a crazy thing just to like watch death. Crazy. What I liked about Life Itself is how like they handled the concept of grief.
Yeah.
The little girl's mother died in front of her, and then like her dad killed himself. Sorry guys for all the intense spoilers. Like her grandpa, that was who took care of her, right? Like he handled it well, like being a support for someone who's dealing with that. But like most people don't know how to like help people deal with that.
I don't know.
I do. It's unrealistic to expect people who haven't experienced to know how to like deal with it. And I think Life Itself portrayed grief really well and portrayed being a support for people who are like dealing with that very well.
Because I also think the daughter like wasn't like made out to be like a villain or a bad person.
No.
She wasn't acting like the best like modeled behavior, but it still wasn't like turned into a negative thing where I think often it is, where it's like, oh, like this one bad thing happened to her and then her life went downhill, whereas like we feel so much sympathy for her and we understand her path while she's still doing like slightly questionable things that we're like still like understanding, which I think is really important because there's so many people who go down that exact same situation.
I also like appreciate that like the like this like all this loss that she dealt with didn't like ruin her life.
Yeah.
Because I feel like often when like death or like whatever is like portrayed on like movies and TV, like it ruins the person who dealt with it, and she just like bossed the fuck up and kept going, and I
admire it.
I like appreciate seeing that.
Yeah. If one of your friends died, they'd probably be my friend as well. But like I would have to be a support for you, you would have to be a support for me, while also grieving in our own way.
Grief is just complicated as fuck.
It really is.
Happen too.
Moral of the story:
things will happen, and you will learn from them. And
life is crazy.
Life is wild.
And does everything happen for a reason? No. But do we learn from all the things that unfortunately might happen to us?
Yes, we do.
Watch those 3 movies if you haven't.
They're fire.
Comment down below. I'm sorry. Comment your review. Shout out to
subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, I'll tag it in the description. We gotta go. Peace and love. Thanks for hanging out. We love you. Thanks for being on the show, Maeve.